The latest polling from Nanos Research for CTV News shows Doug Ford's PC party has a comfortable lead. Joining us now is a chief data scientist and founder of Nanos Research, Nik Nanos. Good morning, Nik. Thank you so much for being here with us to break it all down. Lots of interesting things coming out of this poll.
Absolutely. You know, the election is afoot, and you know what? Doug Ford is ahead, but it's still too early to tell what will happen in the next few weeks.
How much of a lead does he have?
Well, you know, the thing is in the latest CTV News Nanos tracking, his support is in the mid-40s at around 45% or thereabouts, with the Liberals back at around 29%, which means, you know, the interesting thing is, you know, he's got a pretty comfortable lead over the Liberals. The other thing is that with the NDP back at around 18 percentage points, one of the key takeaways, at least, is that, you know, both the Progressive Conservatives and the Liberals are doing better than in the last provincial election back in 2022. The NDP are not doing as well. But in the night overnight tracking that we're doing, Arda, a little bit of an uptick you can see for the New Democrats. So we'll have to see whether this is a new trend. But it'll be interesting as Ontarians start to focus on a wide range of issues, not just Donald Trump, but also education, healthcare, jobs, all that kind of stuff. It'll be interesting to see whether there's a trend or a narrowing between the Liberals and the New Democrats.
What do you think the NDP need to do to get back in second place?
Well, you know, the thing is first of all, they need to create more profile for their leader. You know, their leader, even on the preferred premier front, is trailing both of the other party leaders. And, you know, the thing is they've got to say what they did in the last number of years. You know, the thing is that, you know, for the New Democrats, they're the official opposition, but they might not have had as much profile as other previous opposition parties. But, you know, when you look at on the leadership front, you can see that Stiles is back. You know, only 16% of people in the province give her a tip of the hat as the person they would prefer as premier. Ford's clearly the top choice at around 39%, and Crombie at 27%. So, you know, there's obviously room for improvement for the New Democrats on this front. And, you know, the last provincial election, Arda, was pretty exceptional because the New Democrats don't always win. They have under Bob Rae. They don't always form the official opposition. And for them to try to repeat that would be quite something. But right now they're trailing in terms of ballot support, the Liberals and the Progressive Conservatives, and their leader is trailing the Progressive Conservative leader and the Liberal leader.
We saw in that board there that most Ontarians prefer that Doug Ford become the leader of Ontario, but a lot of us also don't want this election.
Yeah, you know, and not to, I know you have a big viewing audience, probably includes dentists, but it's kind of like a trip to the dentist. Not everybody's enthusiastic. I don't know, maybe you're enthusiastic, Art, about the trip to the dentist. I'm a bit of a mixed bag, but, you know, when we ask Canadians or ask Ontarians, that is, this whole idea of Doug Ford saying that he needed a stronger mandate and called the early election, what's interesting, about 63% of Ontarians either disagreed or somewhat disagreed with Doug Ford's assertion that he needed a stronger mandate in order to deal with the Americans. Interestingly, 33% agreed with him to one extent or another. But the kicker, Arda, is this. Think of it this way. The Progressive Conservatives are at 45% support. Only 33% of Ontarians actually agree with Doug Ford that the election was necessary and for him to get a stronger mandate. It means that even Progressive Conservative committed voters, a significant chunk, are not hot on having the election right now.
Interesting, but that hasn't deterred where they stand in the election. That's very interesting. Now, which demographic is more likely to vote for the Progressive Conservatives and Doug Ford versus, let's say, the Liberals and Bonnie Crombie?
Yeah, you know, the other thing is that Doug Ford and the Progressive Conservatives do exceptionally well among male voters. You know, like for the whole populace of Ontario, he's in the mid-40s. When we look at male voters, he's in the 50s in terms of popular support. The best demographic for the Bonnie Crombie Liberals are actually women. She does well among women. And, you know, the thing is she does well compared to other groups, but still needs to do better. You know, you have to think of the winning franchise for the progressive conservatives and the liberals is kind of mirror images of themselves, right? For the PCs, it's like do well among men and be competitive among women, which is why he's got a big lead. For the liberals, it's to do well among women and to be competitive among men. So, the thing is for the liberals to try to challenge the progressive conservatives, they have to, first of all, increase their support among women voters and also increase their support kind of in suburban Ontario if they want to try to challenge Doug Ford. But right now, they're still trailing noticeably.
We've heard a lot of the focus for these elections or the tariff threats, even the slogan, Protect Ontario for Doug Ford leans into that. But is that something that Ontarians are worried about, or are there other issues as well?
Actually, the thing is that what we've seen, at least, is that, yes, Ontarians, like Canadians everywhere, are worried about the relationship with Donald Trump and the threat of potential tariffs. But, the thing is that what we see, at least during elections, is that that's the time for people to talk about healthcare. That's the time for people to talk about education, about jobs, prosperity, and stuff like that. So, yes, Trump is important as part of the mix. But I would expect this election, it'll be, why don't we just call it a little bit of a policy buffet? How's that? Policy buffet, where there'll be a bunch of things that'll be like, hey, we're having an election. Now's the time to talk and to hear from all the provincial party leaders on where they stand on everything from the U.S. relationship through to education, healthcare, the environment, and jobs.
Nik, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time and the breakdown.
Bye-bye.
Nik Nanos is the Chief Data Scientist and founder of Nanos Research.